Hello, we are back here again, and this time we are going to add something fun to this drawing that never seems to end. And this one took me quite a while. It was about 9+ hours of drawing in this session, but I was happy with the results after some struggle. So I decided to draw on the scarecrow's pole. I decided to draw some ravens or crows, preferably ravens. But I mean, if you want to call them crows, you could call them crows as well. And for the purpose of this video, and it took so long to make this one, and I'm speeding up the video more faster than usual when I do with these, but you'll get the sense of what's going on here. I'm just drawing a bird. I'm drawing a raven, and I wanted to go with the color white because I like different colors other than the traditional what you think a raven should look like, and I think a white raven is a perfect example of that. Yeah, it was just no direction, just wanted to draw some birds hanging out with the scarecrow, and obviously I hid the other layers behind and just started going ham on this bird. Um, it's always fun to experiment with things outside of your comfort zone. And for sure I did with this one, because yes, I draw a lot of birds in most of my art, but I don't really I don't really what's the word I'm looking for? I don't really branch other outside like the normal few kind of birds that I draw. So this time I was trying to a raven for the first time, really just seeing where it went, and I liked the results, and this is the first one I drew, and I went with this textured brush. I don't know why. Usually I stick with one brush, really. I don't deviate much off from one brush, but for this one, I went with a different kind of brush. But as you'll see later on in the video, I decided to revert back to my other brush that I usually use because I'm just more comfortable with it, and there's no right way to do this, so it's all for fun. And for this, I was just trying to do a bird perched on the pole. As you see, I keep shrinking him just to get the idea what he would look like, and I go back to the original size. And it's always good to get a frame of reference of where you're going. And you want to start off bigger and then shrink your stuff down smaller so you don't lose detail, as if you were to draw a smaller drawing, image, whatever, and then work your way backwards. It would just make no sense. That's why you always want to go big first. And as you see, I'm just trying to make him puffy and fat and cute looking, but it's a raven, and he's just hanging out. And right there, I was trying to resize the head because I didn't like it was like too big for the body at that point, and I didn't feel like erasing the body and starting again. Um, you'll see that with the next bird I draw, but yeah, that the next bird was a nightmare. So I'm just trying to like get that eye level right with the bird where I think it should be, and that sometimes can be a hassle too. Like the whole eye could throw it off. So as you can see, I'm like going back and forth with it, fighting it. As I always say, push and pull. Um, when you're drawing with these kind of ideas, you just want to keep pulling and pushing through whatever you're working with. And there I'm trying to do some more highlights and texture for the feathers. I almost called it fur because it kind of looks like fur from a distance, but just trying to establish more you know, texture for the feathers and the wings. And they don't have to look perfect. Nothing has to look perfect in this drawing. It's all about having fun. And I stuck with a light white wash with the pink undertone just to give it a different pop from the rest of the colors that I've been working with on the scarecrow. And I thought it would complement it pretty well. And here I'm just adding the shadows and lighting for the wings and the chest and the back. Um, because that light source is hitting from the side, so you want to get that light just right to match with everything else. Um, and sometimes this could be really tedious, but then I am writing down the hue and opacity of the brushes so I don't forget them. If you're wondering what those numbers are on top. So you're trying to do the wings and make them subtle enough so they don't stick out so much. and then going back on the face, defining it more. Um, it's kind of interesting how ravens are, how they look. They got that puffier neck, almost like a penguin, and a thick slab head compared to a crow or a pigeon. And yeah, it's interesting to see how it turns out. As you can see, I'm shrinking it down again just to test the size. I'm going back in, messing with some shadows and textures with the beak, just seeing what works, just playing with color. It's always about playing with color. It's always about having fun with color. You never know where you're going with this. Um, the pupils went through many iterations, as you'll see in this video. That was the first iteration, just black on iris, and yeah, I'm just trying to get these textures out, even though you probably won't see them in the grand scheme of things when you zoom out and shrink it. But it's nice to know that they're there. As you see, I'm putting an extra layer of feathers over the top and then lowering the transparency to give it that light shadows. Not too subtle, not too sharp, just somewhere in the middle to give it that texture that there is feathers or fur on an animal if it was another animal. Flipping around layers, seeing which one works. Going back in, filling the little feathers out on the beak. Uh, just trying to figure out where all this stuff goes. And yes, I'm using a reference. Don't ever believe people who say, "Oh, I don't use references." Every artist uses references. We all need references to see what the hell is going on, what we're doing, where we're going. And I always think that people forget that, and they just undermine that whole thing. References are key, and they help us. They guide us pretty much to where we're trying to get. And then you can deviate and turn it into your own as you go along. So here I'm just playing with more of the feathers, trying to get those textures out more. Like this is all unnecessary to be honest. Like you're not gonna see this probably when I zoom out when I shrink it down, whatever. But it's fun to have it there. Um, like I said, this drawing took about 9 hours or so. A lot of work went into it. A lot of it's hard to focus on it so much when you're just in it, and then you start losing track, and you're like, I don't know if it's ADHD or whatever you want to call it, but like you just start losing interest. You start to sway. What's going on? What's happening? And it's hard to stay focused on this stuff when it's like, because I find this part of the drawing not so fun. You're not really creating much. You're just trying to establish what is already known, and that's usually where that goes. And at this point, what am I done with this bird? I think I'm probably close to finishing with this bird. I was kind of satisfied with the way it was turning out. Not sure what I'm doing here. Like I said, these are 9-hour sessions, and you just know how it's going to turn out when you're shrinking down the video to fast speed. I guess I'm back at it again, and adding more shadows and textures to the face. And then I decided to make the iris different color. Thought I'd go with a neon pink glow. Just something to make it clash with the rest of the body, make it stand out, if you will. Those feathers don't look perfect, the wings, like whatever. I'm not too concerned about it. It doesn't have to look perfect, in my opinion. And there I'm shrinking it down, trying to put him on that perch, that pole where I think he should rest. And then this is, let's see. This is where I struggled so much. This is where probably all the hours of the drawing went that on that 9-hour session. The second bird. I was trying to draw a bird from behind, which is way easier than drawing a bird from the front. Because when you draw a bird from the front, it's got that puffy feathers of its chest, and bottom. Like, it's not hard to establish what's there. But this one right here, this is a tough challenge, and this is why I like challenging myself. I tried drawing a bird, a raven, a crow, whatever, from behind. And especially when you have wings that are folded. I think it's way more difficult than it is to draw a bird with wings expanded because uh lines and shapes and everything just gets so compact and tight. You start to lose focus of what you're drawing and it becomes something else. And it's like, is this really feathers or what is this? And that's where I struggled for a good couple hours on this drawing right here on this particular bird. And yes, I'm using another reference. And yeah, it was just trying to find that balance of realism, but at the same time, making sure that it fits with the rest of the world that you're creating, the rest of the characters, and it doesn't stand out, you know? Um, what else to say about this? Yeah, it was just tough, man. Like there I am trying to draw a freaking a raven's butt and feather back tails. Like, what am I doing at this point? And that looks sloppy. That looks messy. That looks, to me, that was gross. Those wings in the back look so gross. All those lines. But I'm just like fighting it all the way through. I'm fighting it. I don't even know how it's gonna turn out. I was literally getting frustrated with it at one point and I was almost considering scrapping the whole idea of having the birds. But for some reason, I wanted to have at least two birds on that stand, on that pole. If it was just one bird, whatever. And I could have easily copy pasted that first bird and like twisted them a little bit or something, or just tweak them, just to say, oh, there's some ravens perched up on that pole. But honestly, I really wanted to challenge myself. I really wanted to try something different. And I figured that doing this bird from behind would do that. And but boy, was it tough. And I'm just like all over the place. Like this is probably my most inconsistent of the drawing series yet. Like I'm doing its leg. I'm going back to the butt. I'm going to the back of the wing. I'm going to the tip of the wing. Like I am all over the place with this drawing because it's frustrating the hell out of me at this point. Obviously you can't see that, but because it's sped up and all that, you can't see my frustrations. But like it was there. It was tough. Um, I was just lost at some of those points. I didn't know if it looked normal or not. Like I couldn't make out if it was like, is this a bird or not? What am I drawing at this point? Even at the end result, I still kind of felt like I barely made it through as a passive. Uh, like I barely passed the test of making that bird. That's how much it frustrated me. But hey, you know that's how we do these things. We challenge ourselves and have fun. But it was tough for sure. And right there, I don't know what I'm doing, so I jump back from the leg to the thigh to the wing. I'm just all over the place. And I hadn't even drew the head yet, and I was just already lost. And I was like trying to resize it just to see if it fits on there and how it would look. And maybe I could hide the back of the wings, but then if I'm gonna hide the back of the wings, why am I even drawing them in the first place in this angle? So there was like a lot of inner dilemma, if you will, with the bird. And they, as you can see, I'm scrapping and erasing and racing and scrapping. Like I was like, oh, I'm over this wings. I just want to get over with. And I was having to redo them, and it was a mess, man. But yeah, I've always loved birds. Since I was a kid, I grew up with I used to have parakeets. I had six parakeets that I loved very much, and I saw them at a Mexican flea market, and I was like, I gotta get these. And they were like, you know, those flea markets where they have like so many pets everywhere, and it's like all these small cages, and there's like all in their own filth, and they're screaming and shocked because all the people around them they're super stressed. Well, there was a few cages that were filled with at least like 30, 40 birds in those small little cages, and I felt bad for them. And I know at the time I was younger, so I convinced my parents, hey, can I get uh these parakeets? And I got to save six of them, and I picked them out from their colors. And I thought they were so pretty. And I loved them. And had them for many years. They would fly around my room. I never clipped their wings. I let them free roam the whole room. They would perch up on the ceiling fan. They'd shit everywhere. It was beautiful. I loved them. They would sing. They would squawk. You know, they were parakeets. They were loud. Um, sometimes I would play online and people would be like, "What the fuck's that noise? Like, why is there so many loud squeaky noises?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I forgot I have birds," because I was so used to that sound of them just talking and chattering. Especially when you have six of them, they have plenty of things to say. I will tell you that. And yeah, I had them for many years, and it was just really fun. And eventually, they started, sadly, they started dying off natural causes. And I think I had like two or three left out of the six. Oh, another cool thing before I say that, two of them had a baby, and like a successful baby. Like I didn't even know they were pregnant at the time, and I had to get like a little tree thing, a little perch or whatever, like a little house, so they could carve it out and have the baby. It looked so cool. It was like a mix of the dad and the mom, like the colors of one and the look of the other. It was so cool. So I had like seven at one point. But unfortunately, that little baby didn't last that long. They kind of picked on it and ended up dying. And a few of them died from natural causes because I had them for like at least what 4 years, 5, 6 years. It was a while. I can't even remember. It's been that long. But eventually, yeah, I had to give him away to one of my family members or cousins because I just couldn't bear to see them all pass like that. And at that time, I was getting older as well, so I was like, I wasn't around as much as I should have been toward the end there. So I decided, you know what, the best decision for me is to give these little birds away, and I hope that they have a better life with my cousin, and hope she just takes care of them. She was young and little kid, and she seemed really happy about them. So and I never saw him after that. Um, but it's weird because like sometimes I'll have dreams and we'll have nightmares all the time and stuff. That's a whole other story. But sometimes I would have these dreams where I would hear them, talking like the birds like making noises and shit, and I knew it was them, and I was just trying to find them. I've had that dream so many times. They just appear in one of my dreams, and I hear them just singing or chirping or whatever, and I'm just trying to find them, but I can never find them. I don't know what that's about. I don't know why it always happens to me. Um, Perhaps it's some metaphor for something, or I don't know. It always makes me kind of sad, but like, yeah, I don't know. Pets, I haven't had pets in years, but like, uh, they were definitely something I never forget. And I used to draw them all the time too. Like that's why I fell in love with birds. I could just draw them. They were the perfect, uh, like subject to draw, like because there's right there on your near your in your bedroom, right in front of your bed. Just sit there and just draw them all day as they interact with each other and all that jazz. But anyways, parakeets are awesome. Let's get back to the drawing. So yeah, I'm over here losing my mind with this drawing with this bird, and I'm just like, these wings look terrible, and I still think they look pretty bad, but they're better than what you see right now. And I'm just like so frustrated. All the lines, all the darkness, the shadows, like to me, it's all off, and I'm just fighting it, fighting it, fighting it, trying to make it better. And I don't know where it's going, honestly, at this point. Um, But yeah, it's a lot of the same, just throwing color on top of color on top of color, trying to make something out of it. Sorry, I had to drink water. But yeah, they were just these feathers were just driving me crazy, honestly. I didn't know where I was going with it. It looks like a mess. I'm pretty sure there's an easier way to draw this stuff, and I just had to do it my way. I'm shrinking it down again to see the body. I just wanted to have that bird backwards for some reason. Um, so stubborn, so freaking stubborn. And I said, well, let me just draw the head. Maybe I could get a better idea of what's going on here. So I drew a head for it, and I'm just working that out as well. This one was gonna be more like alive, more animated. This is like it's like squawking out, whatever the hell, calling out, defending itself. And I showed that original bird drawing just to pull colors from it for the beak and the hairline and all that. And it was just a different vibe, this bird right here. It really drove me insane. And I'm just drawing all the little feathers out the neck, getting everything looking nice. Um, like it says, this is fun. This is fun exercises from, to get my brain stimulated, but at the same time, it could be very tedious. And I'm just, like I said, this one's so hard to like navigate because I'm just jumping everywhere around this bird. I'm trying to avoid so many angles. Like, oh, I'll work on those little parts of those feathers later. Oh, I'll work on the neck later. Like I was just all over it. I was and over it too, as I say. I was trying to find it more, get more shapes out of it. I didn't know where I was going with this. I figured I'd just make texture, make feathers, make texture, make feathers. It's just be like a rap song or something. It's all I could think in my head. And sorry if it's not that exciting this one, but I thought it was gonna be fun. It's just that this bird drug me out, and I'm really going on and on how much I hated this bird, but I'm okay with it now that I finished it. I'm more, it looks decent now. It's passable in my brain. Here I am just adding more to the head and all that, and trying to be kind of careful not to make too much of it, or else it becomes real choppy and blocky, and it's what you don't want to do. Um, at this point, where am I? I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to fill in some of the gaps and just looking up and down, jumping back to the neck. I was just all over the place, trying to find some of the lines of the back wing. I lowered the opacity right there, all that, make it more subtle. Singular feathers are hard to draw too, honestly. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing with this. I was going somewhere with it. There's like all the back legs again, to where it doesn't look weird. But it probably really looks weird in your mind. I don't know. Just filling in those gaps. Like, what is this? It does not look like feathers to me at this point. And this was a reference I was going off of, but man, was it probably the worst reference I could have picked. Trying to, make the tail feathers more prominent. Going back and forth with those. It always seems to be a fight with this kind of stuff, for me at least. And I wanted the birds to be birds. I didn't want to make them mechanical like I did the scarecrow, or organic, whatever it was a cross between. I wanted to make them just birds. They're ravens. They're chilling out. And there I am jumping on the feet now, making those feet way too big for their body. I had to shrink it because it was ridiculously too big. That was more feasible. Yeah, I just really like the pink and the white when I look at it now. I think it works for these birds in particular, these white ravens. Shape more of the back. Keep it all clean. Try to brush up the little feathers to the tips, make them all thicker. Then I'm jumping back to the back wings, just trying to make it more fluffier and fatter so it doesn't look too broken apart. Hmm. So there's that. And little shadows to the sides. Um, as video is going so fast, I can't even tell what's happening next. But I think I was satisfied with it at that point. I was like, this is good as it's gonna get. And when I shrink it down, it won't look that bad. And I had to adjust the feet, put them on the pole properly. So that's what you're seeing me doing there. Like he's gripping on that pole with all his life. It could depend on it. Of course, I'm gonna go in on the next one and add scratches and all that to the pole. Finish up the touches on that. I think we're fairly close to the end here with this drawing. I'm pretty positive. And I'm touching up on this bird as well, making sure he looks like he's hanging on the thing properly. Then I decided to do 180 and change the pupils and iris again. Thanks to a suggestion for a very good friend. Um, as you see. And then I decided to draw a third bird, much easier. And this one will be further away, so the texture would be different. It would be a little, not so thick or the lines, whatever. I mean, not so thin and tight. It'd be like easier to understand and flow better. So this is why that bird's squawking because this one's trying to land on the pole, and this one was way more easier to do. Simple design. It's supposed to be farther away. You can't really see the detail on it that much, but you get the idea that there's another bird here in its presence, and that's what I was trying to do with this bird. As you can see, I shrunk it and turned it at an angle, as if it's coming down the land. Hopefully, it translates well on screen, what I was trying to portray with that bird. And, yeah, thank you for watching. I'm gonna let this video play out to the end. I appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one, everybody.